What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm C,
I'm P,
and today we're reacting to Jordan Peterson.
discussing whether men and women could ever be equal.
Mm.
Hmm.
Mm.
I don't think so.
It's gonna cause controversy already. I can already tell.
Fighting.
It's supposed to what though. I guess we'll see what we're talking about.
Yeah, there's different. It really depends. It's like a broad question.
Yep. Well, let's begin.
What do you understand by equality, Sophie? What does it mean to you?
Freedom.
Broad.
Can you be more... Is it equality of opportunity? Is it equal pay across the board? Is it something more than that?
I think equality's better for everyone. I
Yeah,
think,
okay.
you know, I'm really delighted, you know, I love my job because it's an optimistic and a hopeful job, which is about creating more choices for people. I'm interested in people being able to have different choices and having equality of outcome.
Aha, well, so you're going to have choices and equality of outcome. What if people choose different things, which is what they've been doing in Scandinavia? So the Scandinavian countries have moved more towards gender equality than any other countries. Personality differences in Scandinavia have increased rather than decreased, and the proportion of women who are choosing STEM fields has decreased rather than increased. So as cultures become more gender neutral, the number of women who choose STEM fields decreases.
What do you mean
not
by
increasing.
STEM fields?
So science, technology,
Okay.
engineering, and mathematics.
Is that what you said there?
Yeah,
Yeah. So I think we talked about this before.
in the other video.
Yeah.
Because he brought it up in the other video too.
Yeah.
So-
Like inside is where they try to make men and women like equal, like try to treat them the same and everything.
The outcome
It's actually
becomes
more
decreased
more
than what
different,
we
yeah.
would hope.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you make things equal, we still have freedom of choice.
Exactly. So
And in that case, we always choose
Different
different things and stuff we're more comfortable
yeah,
with.
exactly. Men and women like different things, so they end up picking different things, you know. And it's actually worse in the worse or better depending how you're thinking about it. It's actually the difference is actually more. It's wider in those countries that have tried to make it equal, because when you do that, then women usually choose what women like to do, women and guys choose what men like to do. So they actually choose different things more than they do here.
There's no
Side of pressure.
or fighting anymore. There's no, because now everything's equal. Women don't have anything to prove anymore, so they're not fighting for jobs just because they want to prove something.
Like
they're just
they
going
can
for
do whatever
jobs
men
they
can do.
like. So because of that fact, they're actually decreasing their stance on having an equal variety of jobs, so they could be on the same playing field.
Yeah,
as
so
men.
so they choose jobs that they actually like, you know, instead of trying to be.
But in the reality of it is the only reason why you're fighting so strongly for it now is because of the fact that men have something that you want, so you're fighting to prove something. You're not fighting because you really want that job.
All right.
I think
So if you
actually-
so as cultures become more gender neutral, the number of women who choose STEM fields decreases.
What do you mean
not
by STEM
increasing.
fields?
So science, technology,
Okay.
engineering, and mathematics.
I
So if you
think
let
actually-
men and women make their choices, what actually happens is that they specialize in different situations,
Could they
and you
not-
don't get equality of
Could they
outcome.
not have been programmed to have those views from the moment we raise them and give boys
No.
Lego and construction?
No, because what happens is that as countries get more egalitarian, which means there's less programming of that sort, the differences get larger, not smaller. And the scientific data on that is clear, and most of it was generated by people who have a left-leaning bias, so you can't blame it on conservative scientists. It was a shock to everyone to find that out.
Sophie,
I think the difference between Jordan and me is that we look at evidence and we lean towards different theories. So Jordan's theory is very much evolutionary, you know, that there are inherent differences in men and women. Mine is very much more social role theory, if you like, and that men and women are taking on different roles due to the expectations that society puts on them. And it's interesting that Jordan frequently cites Scandinavian countries where they've made more, like there's nowhere in the world that women are equal, but Scandinavia has made the most progress towards shared parenting, etc.
Yep.
That said, it's not done yet. There's nowhere in the world where this is done yet.
But it's having the opposite effect that the gender equality types predicted. Opposite, not the same. And it isn't a theory, it's actually data driven by tens of thousands of surveys and the best scientific literature on the topic. It's not a theory, and I didn't come about it because of my political perspective. I looked at the data. What it showed was that as countries become more egalitarian, the differences between men and women grow. They don't shrink.
So what I'm interested in is...
I want to make a comment about what she said about how Jordan Peterson's rule is like, he's looking at the differences like biologically between men and women, and there are inherent biological differences. And her view is that, I believe, is that there's no like inherent, biological differences. It's just
she's
social.
looking at the
She's saying everything is just societal, yeah. But I have one thing to say about that. Just the fact that men are naturally stronger than women shows that, like, genetically, biologically, that's a difference. So men are naturally gonna do things that requires more strength because they're naturally stronger than women. That only is actually a proof that there is a biological,
I think both play a huge factor: the biological aspects and the social aspects, society aspects. Because it is true, society does put a lot of pressure on people to follow certain rules and paths, but you can't say that without acknowledging the fact that there are genetic differences that play a role in it too. Because they both play huge parts, and they both lead to the same outcomes.
I think the thing is she's trying to say that it's only societal. There's nothing genetically or like biologically difference about us, that's her view, I guess. And I think Jordan is saying like there is something biologically about it, but also society actually affects that too,
But I feel like he has to make a stand on the biological part because nobody else is talking about it. It's not that he doesn't agree that there are social impacts. He just doesn't talk about it as much because everybody is talking about it. He wants to talk about the aspects that nobody is talking about because he feels like those aspects also need a light to be shined on them, which I also agree.
Data, what it showed was that as countries become more egalitarian, the differences between men and women grow. They don't shrink.
So what I'm interested in is data and analysis as well, and I'm particularly interested in the ones presented, such as the ones by the University of Southern California, which discovered that change towards gender equality is actually being slowed by beliefs that are legitimizing social inequalities on the basis of sex. And I'm also interested, I mean, like Jordan, I look at the data and I look at the studies, and I'm really also very much interested in studies like the analysis that was done by the American Psychological Society, which looked at 45 analysis of whether there's sex difference over 20 years. And its conclusion was that men and women are basically alike in terms of personality, in terms of cognitive ability, in terms of leadership. But what it did find was that media depictions of men and women as fundamentally different perpetuate misconceptions, as does workplace bias.
Oh, God, so it's my fault.
So, no, well, you're leaving soon. It's so
Men and women actually are more the same than they are different. But the issue is that small differences at the population level can turn into very large differences at the extreme. So, for example, men and women are broadly similar with regards to aggression, although men tilt a little bit more towards aggression. So that if you picked a random person out of the population, male and female, and you guessed that the male was more aggressive, you'd be right 60% of the time. But if you take the 1 in 100 most aggressive people, they're all male. And that's why the overwhelming proportion of people who are in prisons are male. Now, do you want to equalize that, just out of curiosity? What about bricklayers? They're 99% male. And we've got about 3/4 of the population.
He made that bricklayer comment in the other interview too. But what I just said there is it can be complicated to some people. Do you understand what I just said there? About men and women are like more alike than different. But those differences that they have make a huge difference in like the
broader scale.
Exactly. Like for, yeah, he give the example of like the aggression. Like most likely men are more aggressive than women, right? But the most aggressive people are like most of them are men. So the jails are most populated by men because even though men and women, the aggression is not that different, right? But the most aggressive men, there are more of them. You know what I mean? Just another example, right? About
like you could say,
let's say guys like nerds, right? Who likes technology and computers, stuff like that, right? Men and women like those things, right? They're also, although men like it more men like them, more women like them, right? So let's say like 70% of men like this kind of things, and 60% of women like it, right? But the ones that are gonna make that a career is most likely men, because they are the most interested in those things. I don't know if I'm just
no, it makes
more,
sense.
if I
like
make it.
if you think of the aggressive aspect of it, let's say 75% of men are more aggressive than women. Women are 60% aggressive. Now, out of that 75% of men that are aggressive, now let's say 30% of them are the extreme aggressive.
So you get it.
So if you look at the whole percentage of men and women, the men part is going to overtake the women because of that fact that that 30% aggressiveness is at 100% capacity.
Exactly.
So
you get it.
when you look at that scale, you got to understand where Jordan Peterson is coming from, an aspect of that most men would be in jail over women.
Exactly. But
and if you want true equality, then you have to do a true equality across the board.
Yeah, but I don't think they actually look at the data that deeply. They just take it like a broad,
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like what we were talking about in our previous video about how some people just want to pick at the buffet and grab the little good stuff that they want out of the term equality, and they don't want the whole broad aspect.
You see what she did? When Jordan brought out his statistics, she brought one that agrees with her. You see what just happened there? She said, oh, you have statistics, you have data. I have data too. So she picked one that agrees with her view.
And that's why he drove back at her saying that, okay, if that's the case, are you going to equalize everything across the board? Are you going to do this as well?
All right, let's continue.
Are male. Now, do you want to equalize that, just out of curiosity? What about bricklayers? They're 99% male. And we've got about 3/4 of the population now in universities in the humanities and social sciences are female.
Yeah.
Are we going to equalize that? And men work longer hours. They work more dangerous jobs. They're more likely to move. They're more likely to work outside. They're more likely to participate in jobs in the STEM fields that are scalable. They make more money for those reasons. And that's all hidden under the idea that the reason that men and women make different amounts of money is because of their gender. It's a very simplistic analysis, and trying to
Michael, I was just going to say, Sophie, can you come back on that?
What I'm trying to equalise is opportunity and choice.
Fine, let's equalise choice.
You agree on that.
But we won't get equal outcome that way.
And I think that what happens then, nobody knows, because we've never done it yet.
We do know. We know what's happened in Scandinavia.
But it's not fully got there yet.
No, but it's going in the opposite direction that everyone predicted, and strongly.
I think one of the things I loved about Jordan's book, which I speed read last night, so forgive me, Jordan, I've not read every line. But one of my favourite rules in Jordan's book is Rule 9, which says, assume the person you are listening to might know something you don't. And I think that in a country where men outnumber women by 2 to 1 in Parliament, in local government, where women's voices are not equally represented in media, where our education systems still are teaching boys and girls ideas of pink and blue. What I'm trying to do is work with thousands of optimistic, hopeful people for change.
Okay.
Okay, so the point Jordan is making is, if you give people the opportunity to choose whatever they want to do, and that there is the possibility of the outcome that women are going to choose, I think she wants to, I think her view is, if you give women the choice to do whatever they want, which they have, even though it's might be harder for them to get to certain points, but if her point is, if you give women the equality she's talking about, that they're all gonna go to like parliament and government jobs and become engineers
Well, I
and
think
doctors.
she means that not all of them, but at least maybe the percentages of women that are in those jobs might grow a little bit, which is understandable.
Yeah, but what person is saying is that in those countries that they've made the most progress, it's gone the opposite direction.
Exactly.
It actually shrunk, not grown. So if whatever she's talking about, if that happens, there's gonna be actually less girls in STEM fields. It's gonna be, you know.
So there might have to be a different way to make that happen. If you want more women to have those opportunities, then you have to think of a different aspect of doing it without forcing them to take those opportunities and without taking away their freedom of choice.
Exactly. Showing them to choose STEM fields and government jobs, but most women don't want to do those jobs. Those jobs are stressful, and you gotta work long hours. You gotta do all that.
If you're gonna do that, then you have to spread the equal opportunity both ways. Most women also get more time off than guys do, whether it's pregnancy-related reasons or children-related reasons, whatever the case is. Are you gonna do the same for men?
And the thing is, most men don't want those jobs. I don't want to make it like a woman thing, but most men don't want those jobs. But the men that wants it, or in the extreme ends of that, I was talking about, they willing to work like 80 hours, like with long hours. Exactly.
In the heat all day long, they're willing to do those things.
But most people are not willing to do those things.
They're willing to do those things for two reasons. A, they really love the job they do, or B, they love the pay they're making and they're forcing themselves to do this job whether they like it or not, so they can provide not only for themselves but for their family. Those are the two reasons why men are more willing to do all these jobs. Not saying that women don't really love what they do or don't want to provide for their families, but women won't go to that extreme that men do because of the fact that it could be too much for them.
Men are motivated by money more than women are. Because men will do so much to make money, to make extra bucks. They'll stay late. They'll do so much more than most women are willing to do.
But I also think that also is a society aspect. Throughout all the years, we've always been taught that men are the providers. And so I understand her aspect of trying to break down that society pressure of making it seem like men always have to be the providers, men always have to do this, women have to stay in the kitchen. Like, I agree with that, but I also agree with the fact that if you push this equality, a lot of people are still going to choose the things that they're choosing now because this is how it's been for thousands of years. It's like that metaphor that we were talking about in another video. You can't just push these women into a big body of water and hope that they can swim. You gotta let them test it out first. It's gonna be small baby steps before you get into that big outcome. And it may be the reason why that country is decreasing is because they're just starting. You don't know, in a few years from now, it might tip the scale and it might go back up. You know? But they said, it didn't finish yet.
Yeah, but I think Jordan Peterson's point is that the data we have now is going the opposite direction, but she's saying that, like, she's like so sure that it's going to go her way. But Jordan Peterson is like, okay, but what the data is showing now is that it's going the opposite direction.
Exactly.
I mean, he said, I'm not saying you're wrong, but the data we have now,
it's
going
proving
the opposite,
opposite of what you're saying. Exactly. But that's not to say that it won't change.
He's quoting the data. That's what he's doing. You know?
Would she say she's so strong? Not just her, because most women are so strong that they want this to happen. They want it to happen like tomorrow. You have to be patient with this. It took, I don't even know how many years for us to even get a vote. And that took a lot of patience and a lot of hard work and dedication. Now you want to go the step further and have more women be brave enough to do these jobs that men do so they can have the equal opportunity and the equal pay, which is great. But they have to choose and be willing to work hard to get to that point, which is going to take time.
And the thing is, I think ultimately it comes down to choice, right? The point he's making is that most women won't choose those jobs like she's taking.
Yeah, but you also think of why. Why won't most women choose these jobs? Is it because they're scared to try? Is it because society tells them that they're not good enough for it?
One reason. That's part of it. One reason is that men are more motivated by money than women. That's one reason. I'm saying there are multiple reasons, a lot of reasons this happens. And we can't just say, oh, if we just tell women, okay, you can have those jobs, then they can automatically pick those jobs that that requires you to
and you
work
can't just give it to
so
them,
much
you
money.
know. If men have to work hard to get these positions and jobs so they could get paid this money, so do women. If this is what a woman really wants, then she has to prove her right for that job just like the men do. You can't just give it to them, because then what is that telling you?
Exactly. All right, let's continue.
And girls' ideas of pink and blue.
Yep.
What I'm trying to do is work with thousands of optimistic, hopeful people for change.
OK. You kept very quiet through this, Michael. I'm going to make you put you under a bit of pressure. Do forgive me, I'm going to come to the calls in a moment. Your boss called the gender pay gap a burning injustice. Is it?
Yes, it is, because there should be inequality of opportunity. There needs to be the same rights. But, you know, something that surprised me, that neither of you, and equality of outcome, sure, all of that. But the one thing both of you haven't mentioned is the biological difference, which unfortunately affects women's career prospects, whether we like it or not.
And so on, yeah.
Babies. And that does cause a problem. You know, if I were to take a sabbatical from a corporation for a while, it's going to set me back slightly. And it is a problem that biologically it's women who have babies, not men.
Sure, but that's why we are the Women's Equality Party is the only party in the UK that's got policies around shared parental leave.
She's so political.
We're the only party that has got fully costed plans for universal free childcare. What we're saying is that
You're trying to change the
we're trying to change the outcomes, and also men are joining our party. Men who are really tired. I'm going to have a word with Michael, because I am sure he'll want the application.
OK, forgive me.
We take joint
forgive me, I
membership.
want to take one call, if you'll forgive me, because time is really short, and I owe it to the viewers to hear their views on this.
We've got Salim calling from Manchester.
Salim, good morning.
Hi, Matthew. How you doing?
I'm very well. I'm loving it. I'm pig in heaven today. What do we think about equality? Will it ever happen, Salim?
I was going to say I thought it was going to happen, but after listening to Jordan, he's swayed my opinion.
No. Why did you think it was going to happen?
Because I think we're going to become more cognitive creatures, and jobs are going to be more about mental skills.
Technology.
But then I've been visited schools, and I work in STEM. I'm a software developer, and the number of women doing software development hasn't increased. I would have thought they would have increased more, but I went into secondary school to do GCSE IT stuff, and there's very, very few girls doing IT, and I was thinking IT is the future, and the schools are pushing for more girls to go into IT, but there's only I visited about 8 schools.
Can I just, sorry, Salim, can I just no, because I 30 seconds. Sophie's idea, actually, representations in the...
I think right now society is actually pushing for women to do those things, but most of them don't like those careers. You know what I mean? I think that is the most important part of this whole situation. She wants it to be equal, like 50% of men in the STEM field, 50% of women, like 50-50. You know, it says 50 men, 50% of women. You know, it's like you know, engineers, 50%, architects, 50% like men and women. That's not gonna happen because men and women like different things. It's never gonna be 50-50.
I also think a lot of women need to be a little bit braver. They see these schools and they see how these classes and how it has mostly men in it. And even if like they do like that stuff, maybe not as much. But it's something they would have joined if there was maybe more women in it. But they choose not to because they're too afraid to step into that pool because there's so much men there.
What percentage of women fits in that, you know, pool we just talked about? I'm guessing not many.
No.
So it's not going to make a big difference. the guys who love engineering will actually go in that job. They will work hard. They will work long hours to get better at it. But if you're a woman and you kind of like it, you're not gonna succeed at it.
Yeah.
Because there are more men that actually love it, and when you love it, you work harder at it.
Yeah,
and if you're a woman,
you have to go for a job that you really
exactly,
love.
and that's the thing. Women doesn't love those jobs like men does, and if they go in them, first of all, not a lot of them go in them in the first place. Second of all, if they do go in them and they don't love the job, they're gonna get out. They're
gonna fail.
Exactly. And some women actually are in this field and they're doing great because they love
what they do.
Exactly. Some girls are in STEM fields. They're doing great, because they love it and they choose to do it. But I don't like this idea of pushing women into things that they don't want to do. That's where I think
I feel like when you do that, you're not only hurting the women, you're hurting society because of the fact that these women are now doing jobs that they don't love. And they're not doing the jobs to the capacity they should be doing.
Exactly.
So the job itself is failing because it's not reaching the capacity it should reaching because their employees aren't working hard enough to get to that capacity. So when that job fails, it becomes a domino effect. It will fail your community and it'll reach the government.
A lot of things is, right now, a lot of software, like a lot of engineering companies are hiring women just because they're women. Because they want more women into
they want to make it more
equal,
gender,
whatever, equal, whatever.
Like most colleges, like when you apply for college, they want a certain percentage of women, they want a certain percentage of gays, because they want it to be
like inclusive, everything. But when you pick people that don't love what they do, that's not as good as the jobs. That's bringing your company down.
Or you're not picking people that deserve to go into these schools or deserve to go in these jobs because you're not being fair about it because you want to make it equal for everybody. It's really more hurting the school, hurting the company than it is helping.
The main thing is Jordan Peterson wants, equal opportunity, which is you have the choice to pick whatever you want. She wants to go out of outcome, which is forcing men and women to have 50% in everything. If you have to do that, you're gonna have to force them to do it. Because most men are not gonna be nurses.
Which in the end, it's gonna hurt them.
Exactly.
It's gonna
most
hurt them, and
men
it's gonna
are not gonna be social workers.
The economy.
Most women are not gonna be engineers. If you want it to be 50-50, it's gonna have to be like a governmental, like forcing.
You might as well just put a bunch of jobs in a hat, shift it around, and hand it out to everybody.
Exactly.
This is what you get. This is what you get.
And then make it 50-50.
Exactly.
Alright, let's continue.
There's only I visited about 8 schools.
Can I just, sorry, Salim, can I just because 30 seconds. Sophie's idea, actually, representations in the media could be affecting such choices. Geeks, we see geeks, bespectacled blokes with bad hair on computers. That's what tech means, isn't it?
Yeah, and you're absolutely right, because I think actually that one of the other things we want to do is to have a look at curriculums, to have more female role models, to encourage girls, because so long as we still see STEM as a boys' area that we're trying to get girls into, it's not going to work. We need to do the work we're doing on care, get more boys thinking about, nursing, teaching, more role models for boys in schools.
And
that's the way you break it all
on
down.
programmes like EastEnders, The Archers, that's helped them.
Right, so, listen, I have to draw things to a conclusion. Can I just say how wonderful 3 people, diverse political views, diverse views on many other issues, that get along famously and have wonderful conversations. Thank you. That is exactly the ambition that I have for this show. So, Jordan, good luck with the book. It is out now. It's called 12 Rules.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, Jordan Peterson is arguing for opportunity and she's arguing for outcome. Those are 2 different things. Like if you have 5 men, 5 women, right? 4 of those men are going to pick engineering. And 4 of those women are going to pick nursing. 1 man is going to go to nursing, 1 woman is going to go to engineering, right? Like as a broader sense, right? But if you want to make it 50-50 like that, so you're going to have to force those women who don't want to be engineers to be engineers. You're going to have to force those men who don't want to be nurses to be nurses. That's the only way you'll get a 50-50
outcome. And do you really want to do that? Do you want to force people to do things that they don't want to do? Because in the end, like I said before, that's not just hurting those people. That's going to be hurting the economy. That's going to be hurting the business. Those are going to be hurting schools.
Exactly.
You're taking away the higher opportunity that these companies and these schools and these people could get by doing things that they actually love.
Exactly.
But it also leads on us. We have to be brave enough and able to work hard enough to do the things that we love. Because I still feel there's some of us.
That's everyone, not just women.
There's some of us that love certain jobs and are too afraid or unmotivated to work hard enough to do those jobs, which are causing the inequality. Which is something that each person personally needs to work on and change. So, do I feel like, yes, we should promote that it's okay to do these jobs, show that there are strong women that are capable to do these jobs? Yes. But do I feel like you should force women to do these jobs? No. Right. You have to know where to draw the line. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think. I'm curious.
Like,
comment,
subscribe.
bye.
See you next time.